Hey guys, Al here, Vitalize Seed. Hope everybody's having a good day. A little bit longer video here, but I want to jump in. So as we always talk about here at Vitalize Seed, we're not just going to promote things or guess at things. We're going to continue to test, and share. So one of the things we do with our highly diverse mixes is we're going to continue to show how and why we can reduce fertility. As most of you know, if you followed me, not only do I love planting a large amount of acreage, relatively speaking, in whitetail food plots, but I also really enjoy gardening and managing a blueberry patch and managing an orchard and things like that, much smaller scale. So in this video, I'm going to talk about a less than ideal garden soil, and even in this, how we're able to reduce fertility heavily by using diverse cover crops. So let's dive in. So here's a soil health assessment I did on this this year for the garden. As you can see, my organic matter level is only 2%. Diving further in, I wanted to do a total nutrient digest of this particular field. I'll move my head here. Let me just scoot this up here. So what I ended up doing is I did a total nutrient digest so I could see what is actually in the bank of the soil. And we're going to do more videos on this as well. But as you can see, there's quite a bit of nutrients available here in the bank. We just need to make biology maximize photosynthetic capture, as we talk about, and drive up this availability. As you can see, pretty high soil pH. So the pH is at 7.4, I think I saw in the other thing. And if you look, the phosphorus, the reason they use an Olsen here is because the pH is more alkaline. So they use an Olsen test. Phosphorus ppm is 10.4, which is really low according to most people's standards. However, if you look down at the total nutrient digest, there's almost 2,000 pounds of phosphorus available in that soil. ppm to pounds is roughly 2. So let's just say 20 pounds would be available via the phosphorus Olsen test. But total phosphorus bank is significantly larger. So how can we unlock that? Well, we can unlock that through microbes, right? Soil biology, specifically fungi, do a really, really good job at unlocking phosphorus. But as you can see, if you go down through here, there's a lot of other really good nutrients at high levels that we just need to convert. Like, for example, nitrogen. There's not 700 pounds of nitrogen available, but there's 700 pounds of potential nitrogen available. That's in root mass, that's in organic matter, that's in microbial biomass, etc. So how are we going to get those organic forms of nitrogen to convert to plant disseminable forms of nitrogen? We're going to do that through biology and highly diverse mixes, rotational mixes like our 1-2 system. And that's going to help us to reduce fertility because we're going to be able to take advantage of that NPK and so on, cycle that into the next crop, and then cycle that back down through. So again, this is only a 2% organic matter soil here. So this is not like something that you would expect in some of the other tests. We're going to have much higher soil banks. And again, this is also only at 6 inches. So as we go down deeper with some of our root mass, like sorghum and Sudan grass and radish in the fall and such, we're going to be able to mine, as they call it, nutrients deeper into the soil profile. But let's dive into this a little bit further and look at a tissue analysis into what the actual results were of the carbon load that was planted into this 2% organic matter soil. Let's take a look at that. So what was our crop actually able to take up, our cover crop? This is really important because if you remember, let's just talk phosphorus for talking purposes. If we multiplied the ppm by 2, we had about 40 pounds of available phosphorus, which means using conventional agronomic science, right? We would have went out, we'd have bought phosphorus, we'd applied a bunch of phosphorus to drive yield. Now, not necessarily for our cover crop, but certainly for our cash crop. So in this case, is my garden. My cash crop, if you will, is my, I plant probably 70 to 100 tomato plants every year. In this particular garden. Now I might throw in some peppers and stuff, but that's my main crop is tomatoes. I really enjoy them. I would have to go out and say, okay, I need to put in phosphorus down. However, I have now assimilated 40 pounds per acre, so they extrapolate that out, of phosphorus just in above ground biomass. So what we know about plants is that plants are like icebergs. The above ground biomass is impressive, but if you really want to be impressed, look at the root mass. So now I'm taking the roots, or taking the above ground biomass, and terminating it through mowing. So I had done a video where I mowed this off, and now it's laying on top. This is an organic nutrient value. So what's going to happen is earthworms and other arthropods are going to come up and they're going to shred that material as it starts to decompose. And they're going to go back down in their burrow and they're going to deposit it down there. And it's going to continue, and the cycle is going to continue. Now, in this particular case, I then actually planted an additional cover crop because I still have 5 or 6 weeks before I'm going to be planting my tomatoes in here. But what is happening here is we are cycling nutrients through the 1-2 system, and we're able through biology to unlock that bank, that total nutrient digest I showed previously on a 2% organic matter level. I actually have thousands of pounds of phosphorus just at 6 inches. That's not accounting for deeper root mass, as we discussed, and increased microbial biomass, which is something that we're going to talk about, I'm sure, more in the future. But as we increase microbial biomass, how we can drive higher levels of N and things like that in organic fashions. So all of that to say, guys, is this is how the whole Vitalize 1-2 system works. This is why diversity with a purpose is so critical. This is why understanding subsequent plantings, and what we really try to do is help our growers to understand that, following one after the next, after the next, after the next, that even in a 2% organic matter level soil, why you can achieve highly reduced amounts of synthetic inputs, if not none at all, right? And get your pH right, get your nutrient values right as far as base saturations go, and then drive it home with diverse root systems and above ground biomass and different levels of termination so that we can cycle those nutrients. That's how we can continue to drive and function and reduce needs for synthetic inputs. And as always, guys, I hope you found this interesting. We're going to continue to test. I have a few more other similar documentations that I'm going to be sharing over the next day or two, most likely. And I hope you guys found this interesting. I do have some soil tests I'm going to also continue to highlight and show as well. So if you guys like this stuff, please share, subscribe, follow along. I hope you all found it interesting. We sure like bringing this information to you. And check us out, vitalizeseed.com.